using side, angle, side, and side, side, side. And we're going to share out, and we're going to start with group number 1. Come on up. Make sure everybody comes up together, but only one person has to talk, and only one paper has to be under it.
My paper.
Okay. Let's try to pick up the pace a little bit, guys, so we can. So as soon as group number 1 is done, group number 2 is going to go. Just check your answers, guys. Shh. So Tyson has 3 sticks of lengths 24, 28, and 30. Is it possible to make 2 non-congruent triangles using these sticks? Explain your reasoning.
No, because it's side, side, side.
And side, side, side means there's only one possible unique triangle to make. Okay, that was easy. Number 2. Here's Cheyenne, so you don't have to go to the other side. Okay. All right, number 2. Sonia has made a sheet of baklava. She has markings on her pan so that she can cut it into large squares. After she cuts the pastry in squares, she cuts them diagonally to form 2 congruent triangles. Which postulate could you use to prove that the triangles are congruent?
I said side, side, side because once you cut a square in half, obviously this side right here is going to be congruent. But then if you take the pastry and put it on top of each other, the 2 angles are going to be exactly the same and the 2 other sides are going to be exactly the same.
Yeah. When you make this cut right here, it's congruent by reflection because it's true on both sides. Yep. Number 3, come on up. I'm going to read the question while you're coming. Carl had a piece of cake in the shape of an isosceles triangle with angles 77, 26, and 77. He wanted to cut it into 2 equal parts, so he cut it through the middle of the 26 angle to the midpoint of the opposite side. He says that because he is dividing it at the midpoint, the angle to the midpoint to the opposite side, he says that because of a side, the 2 pieces are congruent. Is this enough information? And explain your reasoning.
I said yeah, because when you split it in half, the reflecting line is congruent, and then 77 and 77 are congruent, and they were each the same, so it'd be angle side angles.
Okay. Thank you. My next number 3, come on up. My next number 3, come on up. Thank you.
Oh, you had angle side angle as well.
You guys had angle as well. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to show you an alternative way. Thank you. All right. So I just want you guys to see the alternative way to do it because one of your options was not supposed to be side angle, but you could have totally used it. But we've got an isosceles triangle, right? Which means these 2 sides are congruent right away. We cut it down the middle. This is 77, 77.
It makes 290 degrees.
This whole thing is 26. I cut 26 in half. We get 13 and 13, right? But these are congruent because we cut it at its midpoint. This is congruent from reflection. So we could use side, side, side to prove that this is congruent. We could use side, angle, side because, yes, it would have to be at 90 degrees. And, yes, I do understand what you're saying. Angle, side, angle would be true, but not with the 13 or the 26, unless you're doing angle, side, angle. So this is congruent so many different ways. Okay? All right, number 4. And question number 4 states, Tammy installs bathroom tiles. Her current job requires tiles that are equilateral triangles, and all the tiles have to be congruent to each other. She has a big stack of tiles in the shapes of equilateral triangles. Although she knows that all the tiles are equilateral, she's not sure that they are all the same size. What must she measure on each tile to be sure that they are congruent? Explain your reason.
She has to measure one side of each triangle
Because it's equal angles, all sides are congruent.
Correct. And then they would be. 5A, come on up. An investigator at a crime scene found a triangular piece of fabric. The investigator remembered that one of the suspects has a triangular hole in their coat. Perhaps it was a match. Unfortunately, to avoid the tampering with evidence, the investigator did not want to touch the fabric and could not fit it to the coat directly. If the investigator measures all three sides of the fabric and the hole, all three sides of the hole in the fabric, can the investigator make the conclusion about whether or not the hole can be filled by the fabric?
Yeah, side will answer the question if the measured sides are all the same.
Then the fabric matches. Good. Investigation B. If the investigator measures two sides of the fabric and the included angle. So I think we had some questions about what included angle means. If I say two sides of the fabric and the included angle, it does have to be the angle between the two sides that you measured.
So side and side.
And then measures the two sides and the included angle. Can he determine if it's matched? It said it twice. It means one of the fabric, one of the hole in the outfit. Shh, don't talk while I'm talking. Explain your reasoning.
Yes, because you can use side and side.
Yes, because you can use side, angle, side. Yep. Side, included angle, side.
No.
That was perfect. What we're going to talk about right now, guys, before we move on, is some new words. So there are some of you with markers at your table and a piece of paper. So we're going to go through and do these three words. So the ones with the markers at the table, I'm going to assign you each a word. Postulate. We know my spelling is horrible. Theorem. I don't know why my M has so many bumps. Side, 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 and side, angle, side. So we're going to look up the words in Google or in the back of our books, because there's a book at each table. So I want Michelle's group, you're going to do postulate. Kendall's group, you guys are going to do theorem. Garen's group, you're going to do side, side, side. And Cassie's group, who has Marcus's group, you're going to do side, angle, side. Okay? So you guys are each going to look those up, and we're going to post them on the board. Postulate, I'm going to do my interpretation of it, but you're going to actually look it up in the glossary, okay? Postulate is a rule that you don't have to prove. Where a theorem, we have a proof. We can go through and say it. So like when we did like law of sines and law of cosines, we could prove where that came from, right? Using trig. Okay? Where a postulate is just a rule. That's what it is. Okay? Like alternate interior angles are congruent. Okay? Side, 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 and side, angle, side are both postulates. They're just rules. Okay? In your books, Sean and Cassie, stop it. On page 927, okay, those rules are, all the postulates and theorems are listed, okay? But it's super easy just to look them up on Google as well. If you would like to take a book home, okay, because you would like to see it, we can totally check out a book to you. But I'm going to do it on an individual basis. Okay. All right.
Online books or no, not anymore?
I do. All right, so your homework for tonight. We're going to write congruency statements between the triangles and to state the postulate that it's implied. If you cannot apply a postulate, write no conclusion can be made. Okay. Name the included angle of the given side of the triangle. That's the one in the middle. Okay. Draw a picture. Then use your information to set up equations and find your answers. Okay. If the triangles are congruent, which angles are congruent? Which sides are congruent? Can you set them equal to each other and solve? Okay? And number 12, you do not have to do, but this is the start of what a proof looks like, a two-column proof. There are paragraph proofs as well. What a two-column proof looks like. If you would like to try this, you can. Okay? I'm going to go over it tomorrow at the beginning of class, but again, number 12, you do not have to do. Okay? I'm going to do number 9 right now just so we're clear about how this works. Okay, we've got triangle CDE and triangle FGH. They're written in that order because it's telling you which angles congruent with what. Okay? Angle G is this, angle E is this, angle H is this, and side GH is this, and it wants you to find DE. So EH and DE will have to be congruent, but first we have to figure out what X is. So which ones are congruent, G, E, or H? I have 3 angles and 2 of them are congruent to each other. Can you tell me which? G, E, H. Which, is G congruent to E? No. Is E congruent to H? Yes. So the measure of angle E is congruent to the measure of angle H. So 19 minus X equals 27 minus 2X. Okay. I'm going to add X to both sides first. And I get 19 equals 27 minus X. Then I'll minus 27 from each side. And I get negative 8 equals negative 1x, so I divide by negative 1. And x equals 8. Do we agree that GH and DE are the same length?
Yes.
Okay, so we just have to plug in 39 minus 3 times 8, and we will find DE. So 8 times 3 is 24. 39 minus 24 gives me 15. Questions? Okay, you're going to do the same thing for 10 and 11.
Go back. I was copying.
I can leave this right here. Yes, I can. All right, I am going